Crowd of boys, peace. What's good with you boys out there? Come to talk to you boys today about semen retention and healing your brain from pornography. And how do you know that you are healing your brain and yourself overall from pornography? I'm going to jump right into this topic. The first thing is that you are gaining control over yourself. Ultimately, you are gaining control over your mind. The underlying effect of this is that you are practicing saying no. You are saying no to yourself. And I always harp on and preach on about self-preservation, self-confidence, self-love, and self-care. But telling yourself no sometimes is healthy. And when you practice this saying no to yourself, denying self-gratification, understanding the consequences behind your actions, you are saying no to yourself. That is something good that will lead to a healthier lifestyle. How does this manifest outwardly? When people present you something, you analyze it better. If you're in a situation, you are aware and have the cognizance of discernment that you will practice. This all stems from your semen retention and how you treat yourself, so you know what you deserve, what you want. So if someone presents you something that's not in alignment with you, it is easier for you to say no without any feelings attached to it, not making anyone feel bad or feeling bad about a situation. The answer is no. This comes once again from the stem root of semen retention, denying your own self-pleasure, self-gratification, dopamine hits. Through this practice of semen retention, you are resisting against temptation. This teaches you not to give in so easily to thoughts. Most of all, this comes from the healing of your brain. That's the number one aspect of this, and this is why I'm on this topic. Everything that I'm saying right now, this teaches you not to give in so easily to your thoughts in your mind. This is your mind healing. This is your brain healing from that pornography. You're not so susceptible to giving in so easily to those thoughts and those desires. And that's one of those things that's a little detrimental to some that may be on this journey and you're just starting out, right? Because you're still going through a refining process. You are still going through the motions of healing. You're still damaged in a way, but understanding that these thoughts and urges that may come, you're not so reluctant to feed into them. The next thing I'm going to jump into is self-correctiveness. Willing to work on yourself, correct yourself when you're wrong, when you're doing something wrong. You know, the act of watching pornography, releasing to a screen is wrong. And this is something that you have to correct. And once again, this is for guys who are just starting out, struggling to get on a streak or whatever the case may be. You have to correct yourself. Just because you may fall off or go on a binge, it doesn't mean that you're too far off. You just have to correct your actions. But this is part of the process, and this is part of your healing. This calls for better moralities that will be in place. When your brain really begins to heal itself, you'll start to think better, the clarity. You have the awareness of what draws positive energy for you and what draws the negative. You will start to begin and not just feel a certain way while on semen retention, but you will know you will know the aspects of semen retention and what it is doing in your life. You will feel better. When you heal, you feel better. All right, from any sickness, from any addiction. You have the awareness of what draws positive energy for you and what draws negative energy for you. The next thing is the unwanted or decreased desire in engaging in pornography and a better preference. Let me say that again. The unwanted or decreased desire in engaging in pornography, even looking at those images, become disgusting to you. What once was pleasurable to your eyes, to your liking, it becomes a decreased desire. It's a sleeping giant, all right? It doesn't completely die, all right? Your sexuality is always with you, but with the perverse images, okay, that we have been exposed to that has done the damage to our brain already as to why we are here in the first place. This is the reason. We've been exposed too much to it. So now that we've been desensitized to these images and sex and stuff like that, now when we fall back from it, we don't even see the need or use for pornography. And it disgusts you. It disgusts me at this point. Watching someone else engage in sex is disgusting to me. And also a better preference. Your preference changes. Here's where I'm going to put a little ad break for the Patreon. Head over to the Patreon. I will be doing this audio on the same topic on Patreon, where I have a story that will be on there about on the Patreon about preference, how your preference may change or a better preference. Okay. And the story that will be on the Patreon, you guys go pledge, sign up for the Patreon. If y'all know what's going on with the channel, y'all know. But head over there for exclusive content, for content that won't be posted on YouTube more exclusively and stuff like that. Head over to the Patreon to hear the story out if you're interested in that content and in exclusive content. And how this part of healing your brain from pornography and this story correlates with the preference, how your preference changes. And one of the things I will say as far as preference in this audio is, when I talk about preference, I'm talking about your taste in women. And of course, as I just explained, your taste in what is appeasing to you or what arouses you sexually, that changes. But even also the sex you might be attracted to, meaning the gender. Very deep. What I talk about over there on Patreon when I do that audio is going to be basically around having attraction to the same sex. I'm going to just put that out there. And I have a story with that. And, I'm not into the business of putting anybody else's business out there, or whatever the case may be. So everything is discreet. I'm not going to I don't name any names or anything like that. It's just a story. And what the experience of that said person was like and the advice that I gave to that person, and how unwinding yourself from this pornography can be a big help to help you with your preferences. Because some of us may be in confusion, if you get what I'm saying. Okay. But understand that the stem of being overly sexualized comes from this pornography. And when you start to disengage from that pornography, your mind starts to rewire itself, open itself up, and you start to understand. And when I go into this next and last point on this topic, I hope it gets you'll get a better understanding along with the preference and things like that, and your perception. That's what I want to get to as the next point. Your perception changes. Your mindset changes when you are healing from pornography. Your perception of women first. They're not objects anymore. You don't look at them as objects. Some of us are so deep into our semen retention journey that we don't even want to deal with women, talk to women. You know what I mean? We don't even want to look their way because of the way they're staring at us and looking at us. But when you really think about it, right? And you see the way women act and how they engage and the different women that is giving you attention, or all the women is giving you attention, wherever you may fall in this semen retention journey, even if you are a guy out there that's not noticing the female attraction or getting the female attraction, regardless, your perception of women will change, especially the longer you go on a streak, because you will start to notice behaviors. And once again, if you are not getting the attraction or not noticing it, then you need to put yourself out there and observe women for yourself, not wait for it to come to you. Assert yourself. Okay. Some of us on semen retention, I will not lie, we have the benefit of just sitting back and letting everything fall where they lay, because we are in a mind state that we are just free flowing. We are in the flow state. So whatever happens, happens. And wherever the universe leads us to, it leads us to. Some of us, we're so focused on the women and the women attraction that it doesn't come to us. That's how the universe works. So sometimes you have to disengage from it all, completely cut it out, get it out your mind, and then it will start to show up for you. But some of us, we don't have that problem with attracting women and stuff like that. We're just in a better setting. It all depends on your atmosphere, where you go, where you frequent, what your lifestyle is. All right. A lot of factors go into this women attraction that it just doesn't happen for everybody. And you have to understand that. It doesn't mean that semen retention isn't working. It's just that maybe you have to do something that's different, be more assertive in your approach and how you stand, and also be more receptive to energy that's around you, and be willing to change your atmosphere, change your environment. But your perception of women, being more appreciative of women's energy, and the thing that I appreciate most is a female's energy just being around. Has nothing to do with sex, just the feminine or the femininity of some of these women that are out here. Embracing their energy, understanding their energy, willing to learn about their energy. Okay. Not every woman deserves that time and energy to be have that poured into. Only a select few. But I wouldn't know if I didn't assert myself with certain women and wanting to learn and willing to understand certain women. I wouldn't have that insight, and I wouldn't have this knowledge. Life is the best experience and is the best teacher. So the only way to really understand a woman or a female is to actually talk to a woman or a female. So the only way to really test the semen retention out, if it works, is to actually engage with a woman. But when your perception changes and you're not leading with sex on your mind, all right, this is you healing from those pornographic images. All right, you're coming from a place of peace, tranquility, love, charisma. All right. A lot of these attributes that we gain, it starts to come outward, especially when we speak, especially when we put those powers to work. Your perception on sex changes when you are healing from pornography. All right. Your perception on sex is not something that we see on, these screens. We are so easily able to tap into pornography images because of the ability to use the internet. And we can just click away from tab to tab. And it's easy to access. It's the easy way out from actually talking to a woman, getting to know her, spending those months to talk to her, get some type of connection, go out on a date, come back. 30 days may have passed. You haven't had sex with her. Cool. It's okay. But guys are so gun-ho on just jumping into a relationship or getting sex from a woman as if it's something that you really need. even on this semen retention journey, if you end up getting a girlfriend, like I have, sex isn't the first thing that you need to participate in to see if this is the right female for you, or if this is someone you can be in a relationship with or future relationship with. Remove sex away, take it off the table, and really understand that the person that you are trying to be with, because this is a commitment. If you are looking for a wife to build family, to procreate, to really use your seed for a purpose, there are guys out here saying they are not going to release until they are ready to procreate. So the alternative is to really talk to these women, get to know these women. And when you are in a better headspace and you have healed and sex is removed and you are the man that is in charge and in lead, that women will follow your lead. And when it comes down to do the act of sex and engage in sex, whatever your choice is, whether it's when you are ready to procreate or to build intimacy with that person that you are with, it is not coming from a perverse place. It's not coming from the images that you were tapped into before and you are acting that out with the female that you are with. It is a bad spirit that follows you after you watch that pornography and then you go exercise that with someone else. You dig? Your perception also changes in sexual relationships. That goes along with sex too, but if you're into a relationship and you are actively having sex, I explained before about having non-ejaculatory sex. That is sex when you don't release. All right, you don't bust a nut. You hold on. Okay? But your view on sex changes because to get you off, to get pleasure, you don't have to release. You are used, when you're on this semen retention journey, you are already used to, by now, if you're on a long streak, at least 90 days, you are already used to not releasing. So when you engage in sex and you have a sexual relationship, either you can control it going into it. Someone posted about pre-ejaculation, and, maybe when you become sexually active again and you go into, if you're having sex with a woman or whatever, you might release early or whatever the case may be because the feeling, the excitement, the adrenaline rush. But don't worry about it because it takes practice. Okay? Do your exercises to help your pelvic floor and have better control down there. Also, the person that you're with can help you out also. If you let them know, like, listen, I'm not trying to release. Releasing or busting a nut isn't something that you have to do every time or you don't want to. Just be open and honest with your partner. That's it. But this is part of having a sexual relationship. It's coming from a healthier place. Your perception on things have changed. Maybe now your perception is, I need to please my woman. I'm not worried about busting. Let me please her. And if you let her know that, she'll be into it. Trust me. Like, damn, he's willing. Yeah, because a lot of guys and women will cater to a man and making sure that they get off because that's what they're used to. But when they encounter a guy like yourself who is on semen retention and you are handling your business, she will appreciate it. She will notice. All right. She will even ask. OK, I remember in the past having sex with women and being able to last long. And she'll ask me, did I take something? Did I take a pill or something like that? But now that I've been on semen retention, I don't need none of that. You feel what I'm saying? But that's just practicing a healthier lifestyle for myself first. All right. But now when I plan to be sexually active, I know I have that in my back pocket and I'm not going to be so worried about releasing. All right. Pre-ejaculation also has a lot to do with your mind. Also, man, it's all in your head. You're so worried about not coming so quick when you're dealing with a new female. You don't want to underperform and stuff like that. This helps your performance. OK, rewiring your brain. You're out of your head. You're not focused on, the sexual images or that pornography that might pop up on you in your mind. You're more focused on with your partners. OK. Your perception on women's sex and sexual relationship changes. We once all had, I'm included in this, we once all had a warped perception on sex. Our brain was warped. So what we thought sex was and what these women should be doing to us to please us, that is warped perception. We were fucked up in the mind. All right. But now that our brain has and still is rewiring itself, it is a healing concept to the brain and recalibrating the brain for a better outlook and perception overall in this aspect of life, dealing with yourself on a physical level, healing your brain from the pornography, and approaching life with a different mindset when it comes to relationships and sex. Gain control over yourself, gentlemen. Gain control over your mind. Take back control over your mind. Anyone that comes along that tries to debunk you, try to stop you, tell you that it's placebo, they are wrong. Those guys aren't willing to break away from pornography or touching themselves. So it's easier to put someone else down because they are taking a path and doing the actual work and seeing the results and benefits that are helping them. This porno addiction is real bad. And denying that you have an addiction is the first step. Denying that you have a problem with pornography is the first step. And telling someone else that they are wrong or they are smoking something, all right, hitting a bong too much, or it's placebo is wrong. And that tells me a lot about a man or whoever comes along with that rhetoric. That just lets me know how weak you are in your perception on sex, pornography, or whatever the case may be. It really has nothing to do with the semen retention in this aspect. It just shows me how weak you are as a man if you can't control yourself sexually. That's it. Mentally, you are weak. Physically, you are weak. Spiritually, you are weak. Straight like that. With that said, my boys, once again, head over to that Patreon pledge. It's $5 a month, exclusive content going over there. This audio will be on Patreon with a little twist to it. It's going to be a story time over there, a little bit tapping into one of my consultations that I did a while back, explaining a story. I'll just give you a tidbit. Once again, it's confidential. I'm not putting anybody's name out there. I'm just be using it for an example as far as the topic on this manner, as far as preferences and how that changes for you when healing from pornography. With that said, my boys, as always, with love and peace.